other people are often focused on getting the 5% of people who are in market already and
just
getting
the people that are ready to purchase.
Those. We're creating the next 5% and bringing those people into market. That's in our direct sales business. Within our brand advertising business, it is really about a marketplace proposition.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Ad Podcast, broadcasting from day one at Cannes in the LoopMe Cabana. I'm here with Stephen Upstone, the CEO and founder of LoopMe. Stephen, thanks so much for coming on, spending some time with us today.
Hey, great to meet you. Good to get some time.
Yeah, you too. So for those that might not be familiar, tell us a little bit about LoopMe.
Right, well, we've been running a business now for about 14 years, and our focus hasn't really changed. We're all about bringing brands into apps, so that's mobile apps.
Nice.
And we've always had a deep background for over 20 years now around AI and real-time learning. So the kind of unique advantage we bring from using agentic agents applies to all of our different customer groups, which includes direct brands and agencies where we optimize brand advertising experiences inside those apps, and then we make actually the slight majority of our revenue just connecting into other big platforms where we help commerce media platforms or big brand advertising platforms to extend their audiences and run their businesses into mobile apps as well. And again, we put a lot of agentic AI into powering those to make them more successful as well.
Interesting. In the world of AI, the publishing industry and the open web in general is under a bit of headwinds, less traffic, less people searching for things and clicking through on links. 60% of searches now no longer resulting in a click. But then in the same vein, I don't think you've ever seen more people installing apps on their phone, whether that's games, productivity apps. These LLMs are apps, and all the gateway into these LLMs are generally, or a big portion of them, are through mobile. Be curious how you see kind of the opportunity to address the open web in general, and that apps being a growing part of the industry where maybe the traditional publishing space is facing some headwinds.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic tailwind for the business actually. We've seen huge growth actually. So the last 7 years we've grown top line 40% every single year.
Wow, congrats.
And most of that growth has been the growth within the app ecosystem, but also the unique way that we're applying AI to improve advertiser results. We're typically getting 3 to 5 times better results from using AI to drive brand advertising results. The thing that traditional television used to be good at doing, like consideration, purchase intent, stuff like that. But we're also
top of funnel.
Yeah, we talk about taking the top of funnel and bringing that into the mid funnel, making it much more accountable and much more valuable to advertisers. So not just have I reached someone, but are they now a purchase intender? Are they a considerer? Do they go to the store? Did they go to the site? Was it a good quality engagement? Which then you can trace that all the way through to the bottom of the funnel as well. But if you like, other people are often focused on getting the 5% of people who are in market already and
just the people that are ready to purchase.
Those. We're creating the next 5% and bringing those people into market. That's in our direct sales business. Within our brand advertising business, it is really about a marketplace proposition. So there we're connected into 30,000 SDKs, mostly in app. We do have CTV and web as well, but we're kind of always been over 90% app focused. Those agentic trends have actually been a big part of a growth accelerant from us recently, with the audiences moving away from the mobile web, coming into app now. We actually ran a customer survey to all of our customers, and over half of them are increasing what they're investing into the open app internet, which is what we call it. So there's open web, open app is part of the open internet. Open internet is clearly really critical to advertisers because it allows them to bring their own data, transparent measurement. It's really important for the industry to as a route to market for them. Those app sites are very, very resilient compared to all of the web places. So that's a further accelerant and tailwind for the business in these recent 24 months.
Interesting. You talked a bit about Agentic. It's definitely a buzzword this year. Getting virtual employees essentially, or virtual using AI, not so much as just data synthesization and research and being able to, do a lot of prompting around generative, but agentic, really the idea of unleashing these virtual workforces in for things like optimization, coding, etc. What are some of the practical use cases of agentic AI in the world of your guys' business?
Yeah, so big growth areas for us this year are connected television is a big growth area, and then building on that heritage of AI. LoopMe is looking continue to be in the top 5% of all companies that is using agentic AI across the entire business. So there are 3 key areas that we apply and have seen success from agentic so far. The first is in our coding. So we've been doing that for about 2 years. The average LoopMe developer, we have about 150, is now laying down 5 to 6 times more code than they were before using those tools. And it is 10% more efficient or effective code that they're laying down as well. So that's a huge accelerant to innovation and the amount of product that we can ship. So that's a really exciting area. Then when we look at the actual core business, we're using agentic across the sales teams to create bid responses, give them competitor insights, help us to build a much more analytical sale, and that is moving from very high quality analytics, it's kind of almost analytics everywhere, if you like, to being more and more fully automated. And then there are other areas that we're using it in: client servicing, operations, finance as well. But big one is sales. And we've also then used it to apply to some of our biggest products. So marketplaces where we make most of our revenue today. And we have patented algorithms running there. We can apply the agentic to look over those patented algorithms and start to control the dials that we're using. Almost the job that would have been done by manual people before is now being done much more automated, much more tighter, and that is
these are optimization opportunities essentially.
All happening now in an automated, much more sophisticated way, and that's putting millions of dollars straight to bottom line from a business point of view, and it's also driving a lot of value for customers. And the third way that we're seeing agentic AI as a big tailwind and an area for us to grow is these new kind of agent-to-agent buying products. We've just launched our first agent-to-agent buying products, seeing our first few dollars flowing through. I think this year is going to be all about having those pipes working, connecting up, the market deciding, what tools do they want? Is it going to be a client taking a buying agent? Is it going to be a buying agent from an agency? Are they going to use third party or use their own? We've started with a seller agent that sits very directly close to those 30,000 SDKs and all that inventory that we have to allow those buying agents to actually start to transact in an automated way. And so that's where we are today. It's funny, I remember when we first started LoopMe, I think our first revenue month where we were paid was about $8 or something like that. So it's pretty small, but it grew very big. And at the time, the guy on my board, a guy called Russell Buckley, remembered AdMob's first ever revenue month. I think they got $2 or something like that. So, we're at that stage now where those first dollars are flowing through the pipes. I expect to see good ramp from that this year. And then it's just got a huge opportunity going into the coming years. So awesome. Very, very excited about that.
Very cool. All right, let's talk about Cannes. So obviously lots of demand for media agency and CMO attention this week. It's the inflection point of the industry. How do you, as LoopMe, stand out in a competitive environment to win share of voice and win attention amongst the key folks who you want to get in front of this week?
Yeah, so funny, I think the most important thing is to be truly differentiated and to be known for that differentiation. So bringing brands into apps is still really an area where we are the number one leader. So you have other big folks like AppLovin, obviously very well known for doing performance advertising in app. A lot of that is in-app gaming, but we're bringing brand advertising into apps. That people like McDonald's, who would traditionally have run on linear television, are now moving into connected television and apps. So I think being unique is very important. And then we're very strong at collaborating as well. So as I mentioned earlier, a lot of our revenue is driven via people like Amazon, the Trade Desk. We have a great working relationship with people like Magnite as well. So getting strong relationships with them to either use their demand or access clients together is really really important way of kind of breaking through in all the noise.
Love it. Do you personally have any thought leadership this week? Doing any panels, speaking, anything that you're out there talking to the market?
We have a number of podcasts.
Nice.
We have some press releases coming out around this new first for seller agent buying, where we are completely unique in some of the data and added value that we're building into that on the branding side. So yes, there's quite a lot going on the announcement side as well with some of our direct partners and for me personally.
Nice. I love that you mentioned the big innovation on the coding space. You've got 150 coders and they're coding 5 to 6 times more output that they could have without AI enabled coding, but you didn't say you're laying off, 1/5 of or 4/5 of your dev team. So it seems like the smart companies are not looking at AI as necessarily a place to reduce redundancies or improve on headcount, but really they're thinking about how do they take the resources they currently have and exponentially make those people's jobs 5 to 6 times more productive. Is that kind of the thinking around AI?
I think that's a great way to put it. I think that there is definitely reallocation, re-emphasis. So for example, last year we hired Eddie Peterson, who is a new SVP of engineering, had a lot of AI experience at Microsoft, and he now within his team has a new VP of AI and generative AI that's putting together all of those initiatives across the whole organization. So it is a very exciting moment where there's a lot of additional output and production, but there is also a continual changing of where you're emphasizing your investment. Where are we winning within LoopMe in terms of the kinds of developers we need and the kinds of teams we need, and we're really encouraging and empowering our existing teams to lean into that more. Where are we also going to be winning with that generative AI innovation across our business, and also where we're going to be looking at these new products. And I'm always asking us, we've got to think like a startup here and be very, very fast. So I'm always asking, what did we deliver in this last month in terms of the net contribution? And then how are we thinking about on a rolling 12 months forward? And then this summer we also have time with the senior leadership in San Francisco, where we'll be looking at what's LoopMe like in 5 years' time. How does the industry look in 5 years' time for each of our different customer groups? What are going to be their needs? How does that change? And then what do we need to be doing now in this 12 months and the next 24 months in order to meet that? So it is definitely a big reallocation of emphasis, a huge accelerant to the business, and a really, really exciting time.
Amazing. Thanks for coming on, Stephen. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, really good to get time with you.
If folks at home want to follow along with your thought leadership or connect with LoopMe, where'd you like to send them?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Stephen Upstone, and you can also follow LoopMe via our website, via our social media sites. LinkedIn is a great place to start for discovering LoopMe.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on.
LoopMe.ai.
Let's go. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.
On YouTube, finding the right audience to build a media plan requires hours of research. And optimizing campaigns is time-consuming and a bit of a guessing game. That's why we built technology to do it for you. Strike Social.